Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a little repair on our 2021 Buick Encore GX. This is the all-wheel drive model. This is the 2021 model, but this should also apply to at least the 2020 as well. And as you saw from the intro, we've got a check engine light on, and the check engine light is giving us error code P1467. And on this Buick, P1467 more than likely refers to a fault with what they call the evaporative emission purge pump. This is a little part that has to do with emissions, and today we're going to show you how quick and easy it is to replace that. Now, before we get started on the repair, I do want to let you know that there is a way that you can get this fixed for free at the dealer. If you do a Google search for N2323950, this is a GM document where they have extended the coverage for this particular part on certain vehicles, including the 2020 and 2021 Buick Encore GX. So even if your car is out of warranty, they have extended the coverage on this part to 150,000 miles or 15 years, whichever comes first. So more than likely, you can get this fixed for free. Now, why did I decide not to do that? Well, a couple different reasons. The main reason is the part is relatively inexpensive, looks pretty easy to replace, and for me it was worth the $50 or so to just order the part and pop it in rather than have to worry about making an appointment and getting the car over there and everything else that goes along with dealing with the local dealership. And of course the second reason is it makes a good YouTube video. So I will link this special document below that you can, in the video description, that you can print out and take to your dealer and get this fixed at no charge. It does have to be the code that I mentioned earlier in order to qualify. So make sure, if you don't have a code reader, just take it by your local AutoZone or Advanced Auto and make sure it's getting the P1467 code. And then take this to your local dealer and you should be able to get it fixed at no charge. But for those that are like me and would rather just DIY it, let's get into it. All right, I've got the camera propped up over the engine bay. So we are standing in front of the vehicle right now. You can see the oil fill cap here. So passenger side of the vehicle is here, driver side is over here. And right here, pretty easy to access, is our purge pump. So let's get a close-up look at that. So that's what we've got to replace. We do have an electrical connection here and a couple of hoses. Looks like we'll need to get this little wire out of the way as well. And I'll put the original part number up on the screen and in the description, but we do have an updated part number as of the time of filming. This, I believe, is the newest version, so hopefully it's been improved. Let's take a quick look at that. So here is the official GM part. Kind of hard to read the part number, but I'll put that up on the screen and in the video description as well. I just ordered this from a dealer online. And this is the part. And so it's got some protective caps to protect it in shipping. There's the new part number. So we can see that this sits in the car just like this. So it doesn't look like it's going to be too bad to replace. Let's take a look. All right, in a process like this, I like to start by getting all of the connectors out of the way. So let's start with the electrical connection. Looks like we've got a little tab here to pull up, this little gray part. So that just pops up and then press down on it. And it pops off just like that. Let's see how this hose comes loose here. All right, so this little gray, light gray piece here, we're just gonna push firmly on that. And that's it, that hose pops right off. And while we're working on top, this wire here is unrelated. to the purge pump, but we do need to get it out of our way. So let's just pry that off. All right, that's out of the way. All right, so let's get this other hose out of the way. Bit hard to see on camera, but this hose that goes at an angle here into the front of the pump, or into the side of the pump, it has a green clip similar to the gray clip that we just released. Jeez. So I'm up here on the top of the engine at a similar connector. Actually, the other end of this connector, because you saw me struggling with this one. It's a little hard to get your fingers in there. This one works a little differently than the first one. There's little grippy things on either side of the connector, and that needs to pop out like that. And then you can push not on the top part that you just popped out, but on the secondary part. Right here you press, and then it pops out. So that's a little tricky. All right, so again, a little bit hard to see, but there are 3 T15 screws that are holding the pump to the bracket. So I think that we can just loosen them up. I'm not sure that we need to take them all the way out. And if you don't have one of these smaller ratchets, you can pick these up on Amazon for a little bit of nothing. I'll put a link in the description. They're handy for tight spaces like this. Bottom one near that hose is a little bit complicated. All right, so let's see if just loosening them is enough to pull this pump out of here. Pump is very loose, but no, it looks like we need to, I was thinking maybe it would slide out of those, but it does look like we need to pull the screws completely out, unfortunately. Probably going to get this out of here and then see how the bracket would have come out. And feel stupid, but I can see one bolt up on top here, but that alone does not loosen the pump. These are those kind of screws that go directly into plastic, so unfortunately you have to get them pretty far out before you can finger loosen them up. Save that last screw for last, and then you can kind of tilt the pump and get to it easier. The one that's down closest to the firewall near the hose. If you save that for last, you can kind of tilt the pump away and get a better angle on it. So it's going to come out of here without figuring out how this bracket comes out. It's not looking good. It's one of those jobs that looks like, oh, this is gonna be easy. Oh, yeah, it'll come out. Just have to kind of wiggle it out. All right, so looking at this closer, you know, we have this 7mm bolt that's really easy to access. There's one way down in here and one that's a lot more accessible on top of the hose and another clip. So I guess wouldn't be too bad to pull out the bracket, and that might make it a little bit easier to get to the pump. I think it's either way, I think it's going to take about the same amount of time to get it out. So pick your poison, but not too bad once you understand what's going on. So let's get our new pump. I'm just going to go ahead and remove these protective caps so I don't struggle with them in these close quarters later. And time to slip the new pump in, and basically everything is the reverse of what we just did. So let's remember how this goes in here. There's kind of like a diagonal part on the back of the pump here, and that you've got to line up in order to weasel it in here, line up with what's behind it. And I know we just did this. There it goes. All right, so we've got to position this just like the other one. So I think what was just throwing me off a little bit, the pump sits in the car like this, and on the old pump, the part numbers were facing you. So I just was looking at this and thinking, oh, what did I do wrong? Because I don't see the part numbers, and it looks like they've printed the part numbers on the other side of the pump. So, all right, so like before, we're gonna start with that harder to get to screw and finger start it. The aggravating thing is there's not quite enough room to get in something that would be easier to get a hold of, like this screwdriver. So pretty much stuck with this little fiddly ratchet. When you buy the official one from GM, it does not come with the bracket. So you either have to move it over or do like we're doing here. I've seen some aftermarket ones on eBay that come with the bracket pre-attached. Not sure what that's all about, but if I ever have to do this again, I might try the other way just to see what's easier. But I can see pros and cons to both methods. In hindsight, it might have been a little less fiddly to get pull the whole bracket out. This is a plastic part, so we don't want to go too tight. Just snug them up where it doesn't move. All right, that seems to be snug in there. And yeah, I think if you're going to do it without removing the bracket, this little guy is a must. They're pretty inexpensive on Amazon, and I'll put a link to that in the description. So putting this back together should, in theory, be a lot simpler, because these are always easier to put back on usually. So the green one goes on the front here, so we're going to push that. There's a little rib on the inlet or outlet or whatever it is. We're going to push that all the way until it clicks, and then don't forget to reach down under here and push the lock back in place. And then we can make sure that that's on there. Good deal. And here's our one with the gray buttons on top. Push until you meet some resistance. Push in that green button. Now it's on there. And then finally, let's not forget about this electrical connection. I'm gonna push that in until it clicks in place, and we'll pop this little electrical connection back on its mount. Alrighty guys, that about does it for this video. So I did plug my code reader back in, and it still showed the fault as active. More than likely with these emissions codes, most of the time there has to be a certain amount of drive cycles or ignition cycles or miles traveled or something for the codes to clear on their own. But I did go ahead and clear the code. My code reader now shows it in history as a historic fault, but no longer active. And again, more than likely that will clear itself after a while, but we no longer have the check engine light on the dash. And like I said, this is a pretty well documented issue, so that should be all it needs. If this were to, this car has 31,000 miles on it, which is pretty low, but year-wise, it's out of warranty, except for that extended warranty they did on this particular part. So, don't forget, this is something you can have done for free if you don't want to try tackling it yourself. And, if it were to fail again in 31,000 miles, I would probably just slam another one in there myself rather than fooling with a dealer. That might be silly or stupid, but it's just simpler for me to take 15, 20 minutes and swap it out than all that's entailed with taking it to the dealer. If I ever do it again, fingers crossed I don't have to, I might try the bracket, removing the bracket itself. So a couple more bolts and another wiring harness has to be disconnected from it to pull it out. That might be less fiddly with being able to better get to those torque screws just on the bench. But I think either way, it would probably take the same amount of time for a DIYer to tackle it themselves. So minimal basic tools and not a bad job. If I wasn't filming it, I think 15 or 20 minutes. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I hope you guys will consider subscribing to the channel. Do have an interesting upcoming video coming up on the Cadillac Lyriq that you see there in the background, which is now out of warranty. So on my own with little things that come up on that. So I'm sure we'll be doing more videos as time goes on. So be sure to subscribe to see those future videos. Thanks for watching.